Oh, friends, you are in for a treat. I have Jen Szpigiel from Becoming Iconic on the podcast today. Jen is not just an incredible business leader, but she's an incredible woman. She is the founder of Becoming Iconic and the founder and editor-in-chief of Iconic magazine, as well as a mama of four. Jen has helped thousands of women worldwide build successful businesses, resulting in over $100 million in sales through her full service brand that incorporates mentorship and done for you creative services. Renowned for her innovative approach to business and her impeccable leadership, her consulting and mentorship consistently generate wait lists. Jen has also been my mentor at the time of recording this, and has taught me so much. And really, the value that I've gotten from her is how she is the woman behind everything that she's done the last 20 years. So you are in for a treat. We go deep and we really bring out Jen's 20-year experience. So whether you're a woman with a business, not with a business yet, or just living your best life or trying to live your best life, you're going to want to listen to this a couple times. Let's dive in. Welcome to the High Vibes Podcast. I'm Binu, your host. My goal with every episode is to leave you feeling better, shining your light a little bit brighter than before you press play. Let's dive in. Jen, welcome to the High Vibes with Binu podcast.
Oh, Binu, I'm so happy to be here. You're just one of the most special human beings in my life. And to share space with you is always one of my favorites, but then also to know and trust that we're going to build and create a really amazing conversation for your beautiful community gets me really excited. So thank you for having me.
I just love our story of how we met. It's so funny because people knew who you were, yet sitting beside you at that event, gosh, just October. I think it was October.
It was, yeah.
And you know what I noticed right away about you is your presence, your essence. And it's something I've been working on for, I'd say, the last 18 months, is to really operate myself, my life, my business, how I am at home and nobody sees, from this calm essence. And sitting beside you, I was like, where has this woman been? So were you born like that? You weren't born like that.
Well, no, but yes, I think there are some intrinsic qualities and characteristics that I was gifted, but it's also been a life's journey and practice for me.
And you know, having you at Manifest Her, I know like Renee and I were so happy to have you as our keynote speaker. And there's some things that even since then that I already said to you, like I want to talk about this on the podcast. You said something that really, really landed when someone asked you a question about if you were to go back to your 11-year-old self, what would you tell her? And you said, I would tell her to believe faster. So can we just talk about belief and what you've seen in your 20 years experience about women building businesses, women taking that next step for something for themselves, and where belief plays a part?
I believe that belief is the number one quality and attribute to success. And what I've noticed over 20 years is a lot of women are resistant to that because we're looking outside of ourselves for the validation, for the example, for the evidence before we really believe in ourselves to lead the vision that we have. It's often been said to me, like, Jen, how come every time you do something, like it's successful? Like, what is that? And when I hone it and like peel back all the layers, it's not the offer. It's not the aesthetic. It's not even the messaging per se. It's that I have this unwavering personal belief. And that doesn't mean confidence. I think that's a really interesting and important discernment. I'm not always confident, but I believe in myself to know that if something doesn't work, I'll be okay. If something doesn't work, it will lead me towards a direction of where I was supposed to go and why all this happened in the first place. And I believe in my resilience and strength and God-given, like, human that I am, my soul, that I am meant to seize life. And in order to do that, I have to believe in myself and go forward and do things before I feel ready. So it's not confidence. It's not that I don't have fear. It's just I believe in myself to overcome any potential possibility, good or not good, in my future, that it's not going to take me down. Instead, it's going to hone me and chisel me into the leader I want to become.
So did you just make a decision one day because you were struggling through not believing in yourself, that one day you're like, that's it, line drawn in the sand? Like, how does this happen for someone that's listening faster?
When I was life coaching exclusively, I would have my clients do this, actually. And it's not a fun thing to do. It's not an exercise that feels good, but it's an important one, especially again for women. I would say to them, I want you to go back and look at all the stuff. Look in the rearview mirror. Look at the traumas, even the really dark, not good feely ones. Look at the things that you have overcome. Because if you look at your track record and all that has happened in your life, the things that technically should have taken you down but didn't, it will build your trust in yourself to know that, hey, I made it through that. I can make it through the next thing. And I don't know if that was taught to me. I don't know where that came from, but that was something I did for myself. I would look at my past and go, wow, I overcame so many obstacles, so many times that felt dark and not good in my life, but I'm still standing and I still have today. And so it did teach me that resilience and that strength that I carried, to not be so fearful of the unknown, because my past shows me that I'm going to be just fine with no matter what's coming forward in my future.
And I feel like there's like this duality right here, which is what my podcast is all about, which is spirituality meeting self-development. So hearing you speak like that, right? I was exposed to a lot of self-development when I was younger. And so those messages came through, but it was what you just said earlier was, well, if something didn't work out, I just trusted that there was a lesson in there for me, and something better will come along, right? That to me, like that trust in God, universe, something guiding you, that dual thing to me is what's making a difference in my life. So when I was just sitting in self-development, I'd read all about belief, yet nothing would change. It's when I realized, like, oh, if it doesn't work out, that means that there's some lesson there for me. And that to me is like believing in something bigger has to be part of this equation. Wouldn't you agree?
I would absolutely agree. And just to kind of piggyback off of that, I also think we make things mean too much. We make a failure mean too much, and we make success mean too much, instead of just being in this like gratitude for it all. And so what how to kind of explain that is, when something doesn't work, if you make that mean too much, like, see, I'm not supposed to do this, or things should be working by now, or, you're making that mean too much instead of learning the lesson, gathering it and improving and doing it better the next time. And the same goes with success. If you make it mean too much, then you live in yesterday's success and you're not hungry to continue on and take those lessons and apply it and grow into further abundance. So I feel like that's a big component too to the belief. It's like being able to be almost neutral, not where you don't celebrate and have good times, and not where you don't feel the owies of life, but it's like, don't make the drama be too dramatic. Instead, it's like, what's in this for me? Move on. It's in the past. There's nothing we can do. And there's so much in my past I wish I could change. There's so much in my past that if I could have held my cheeks and said, don't do that, I wish I could, but I wouldn't be where I am today without all of that. Without all the messy stuff I've walked through, I wouldn't be the leader I am. And so again, it has me this, I don't know, it's almost like this fearlessness about possibility, because I know and trust, and I believe God wants the best for me. I believe God, source, is not looking at me going, well, you're going to have to be punished because you are too successful, or, you gotta build the trust with me first. Like, we're not being tested. We're being chiseled. It's like David, that big piece of marble. We're all born this piece of marble, and life is chiseling us into the masterpiece. So don't be afraid of the chiseling. Like, it's your masterpiece. And so that takes away some of that meaning that any of us can give too much power over to.
Oh my gosh, we've already had like 5 mic moments. Honestly, it's like we are not here to be tested. We're here to be chiseled. I just want everyone to take that in, because that to me is that a good like one liner of what it means. Like do your best always and you are supported. But yeah, conditioning and all the upbringing that people have been exposed to has programmed. I just love how you make it lighter, so to speak, but also focused on, and maybe this is coming from our other conversation in the mastermind that I'm in with you, but it's like, you said inviting how you want to feel all the time. So really being so present with, wait, is this how I want to feel? Like in the drama, or like I'm being tested? Because that doesn't feel good. And I really believe in this one spiritual value, which is like goodness. Like we get to feel good. And I love that you said that. God, source, universe, it doesn't want us to feel bad. But we have free will. We have choice in the matter to take a new action in order to allow ourselves to feel better. Mm-hmm. And I do think like this to me speaks a lot about worthiness for a lot of women. And I look at you, Jen, and I think, okay, like, and from my eyes, you have built a super successful business. You hold yourself really well. You look like you walk your talk. Like I'm in your mastermind. We're having vulnerable conversations. You're walking your talk. You have 4 kids. Like, how do we do this? Like, how does the woman? And also, I'm getting to this point where one time I heard you say on a podcast that the one question nobody asks you is, "What's your experience over 20 years?" Like the 20 years experience.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go there. Okay, so a lot of my listeners either have a business that was a hobby and now they're making into a real business, or they've left corporate and they're trying to make the same amount of money. They're trying to get to that place.
Right.
But things are messy. They are finding themselves overwhelmed. Like invite them into your world of your 20 years experience to help them shift what's happening.
Yeah, it's going to be a really simple answer. So I hope in the simplicity, the depth of it is felt. That's how I want to build context, what I'm about to say, because it could be bypassed and overlooked. But if you understand it and if it lands for you, it could actually really dramatically change your life. And from a very young age, again, I don't know if this was taught, gifted to me, but it's been a part of me for so long. I would pray every morning, like, God, help me to be better today than I was yesterday. So the pursuit has been focused on who I am being more than what I am receiving. I didn't know that until I named my company Becoming Iconic, because it's the becoming for me that we're all on the journey with. There's no exclusion to that rule. It's just whether you're in the deep end of it or you're like sitting on the sidelines for now for whatever reason. But if you're someone right now who is craving more, whatever that more is, maybe it's more adventure, maybe it's more finances, maybe it's more time, maybe it's just more of yourself to like relish and understand what your essence is, then I would say let that be your pursuit, that you improve every single day. Because over 20 years, what I know happens is reward and success becomes inevitable. It just is. You don't have to try for it. But when we're looking for revenue or income to prove that this is going to work, when we're waiting for a client to hire us to prove that our offer is valid, then we're always handing our power over. Instead, bring your power back and you look in the mirror and decide, I'm going to be better. Maybe today it's better at showing up on camera. Maybe today it's better at just minding your mind. Maybe today it's better at looking after yourself and getting up and getting dressed, but pursue the betterment of yourself. And I promise you, like I promise, it's a guarantee that success and reward is on the other side of that. I don't know when, but that's the practice and the trust and the belief So it could happen 2 days from now. It might happen 20 years from now. But when it happens, it won't matter anymore, the timeline, because it happened. So we got to release the pressure over timelines and windows, and instead be open to the experience of what this gets to be like. And that's when things feel really fulfilling.
I love all of this. I'm actually just like letting it sink in, because becoming, it is so simple. Like just asking every morning when you wake up, help me be better than I was yesterday.
Right.
Almost like that becomes a certain way that you end up behaving, I guess, or leading your behavior throughout the day, so that when you do the sale and when you do the ask and someone says no, right? Because I think it's in those moments that people struggle, or they invite the friend over, or they want to start a nonprofit and someone knocks them down. It's like when things are going well, none of us question any of it. It's when those moments when we try to sell something and nobody buys. Mm-hmm. Like, would you say that doing this inner work, like waking up every day and saying, help me be better today than I was yesterday, looking after yourself more, being present with how you want to feel in every moment, does that help that woman when she does go to sell something and it flops?
Yes, because then you have the lens of curiosity. So if you're in tune with the betterment of yourself and how can I be better? So you hang up the phone and you go, man, I was talking way too much. Or maybe you were convincing, like, oh gosh, I didn't like how I was showing up on that sales call. I felt like I was trying to convince her. I wanted this because of my own ... So rather than punishing yourself and like, see, this isn't working, I'm not meant for this, or I suck at sales, or whatever narrative comes from a punishment, you start to be curious of like, well, what would I do different next time? Next time I'm just going to be quieter. Like, Jen, don't talk so much. Next time I'm going to ask better questions. Okay, let me think about what questions it just turns things into experiences and curiosity around those experiences versus like notches in the belt of why this isn't going to work. Like if you think success is easy, it's so naive. And why would it be so rewarding? If anybody can have $1 million business, who cares? If anybody could grow an online personal brand, who cares? The point is, it's available to everyone, but not everyone will do what it takes. And it's a special type of person who commits to literally crawling sometimes, because there's been plenty of days where I'm crawling. But the promise to keep learning, to keep growing, what is my personal responsibility with this experience I just had? How can I be better? Apply, move forward. That's the only way I know how to work through life. Otherwise, I think all of us would be curled up in a ball watching way too much Netflix, drinking too much alcohol, overfeeding ourselves, and like sitting with these gorgeous dreams, and life passes you by. We all know this. Like this is talked about all the time, but we don't take it seriously. Like, to me, today counts. And I want to look back at my life. Someone once said that you're at the end of your life, it can show you who you could have been and then who you were. That really struck me because I thought, if that happens, okay, I'm at the end of my life and it's like, here's Jen, what your potential was. You could have had all these things and savored the world and laughed with your kids and had freedoms beyond your wildest expectations. But because you made that person who said no to you mean so much, you didn't pursue, you had this other like life where you felt like you struggled and you had to work so hard. That was a choice. You chose that attitude. Because I feel, or I at least hold myself accountable to that potential at the end of my life, I think today I'm going to do it the way I want to remember it. And that's my accountability.
Yeah, this is really powerful, because I do think when, like, what I'm hearing is like that bigger vision, and we can get so caught up in what's right in front of us. But what's coming to me, and then this is like when I was doing life coaching, I did a lot of like personal relationship coaching. So what I'm seeing even in my own life is like when I want to go after that bigger vision. So if I'm thinking big vision and really thinking about at the end of my life, I'm going to look back and say, okay, I don't want to, be like worrying about this one moment where someone said no to me. But we take so much so personally because of people.
Right.
Like, because, and I truly believe we're here to learn through the people. People are here to teach us. But how do you help someone? Because this is part of it. Like the people in your household, the people that like the old people in your life that weren't part of this version of you. And now you got new people. Like, how do you help someone deal with all the people problems?
That's not easy, is it? Especially as an empath. I'm an empath, so I feel things deeply, which I love, but it also can be something that hurts and feels heavy at times. And I often say it's too people-y for me today, with my mom or something like that when I just need a moment. But at the same time, what a blessing. What a blessing that I get to wake up, open up my phone and touch people all over the world if I want to. What a blessing that I get to learn sometimes what I don't want to do and how I don't want to behave by someone's example. Thank you for reminding me how I don't want to make somebody feel. Improvement, betterment. And also, I get to learn so many valuable lessons from those who teach me how I do want to behave. Like presence. And why that is so important to me now is because of one scenario I had with one woman years and years and years ago, and how I felt like I was the only person in the room. I don't remember experiencing that before in my life. Like I don't remember the potency of that kind of feeling of being seen. And she was, a keynote speaker. She came off the stage and there were women everywhere trying to get her attention, lined up, wanting pictures. There was chaos, but she was not at all focused. She was with me in that moment. And I remember how good that felt, that I thought I want to be that. So we can't focus on the people-y people. They're everywhere. One of my mentors used to say, there's 10 bad ones. They just move around a lot. And it used to make a joke out of it, right? It's like, they try to find you, but they remind you of compassion, which is a woman's superpower. They remind you of forgiveness, which is an important practice. They remind you of the things you don't want to be and how you don't want to lead in your life. Thank you for that, because I don't want to make somebody else feel this way. And they're not the majority. I think sometimes it comes up for me as circumstantial power. It's something I teach of we're in our personal power when things are going well, or when we're with people that it feels easy. We give our power over when we're maybe intimidated or when somebody is challenging. How can you learn to not have circumstantial power? How can you learn to stand and keep your spine straight despite circumstance? And that is, I feel, a lifelong journey. I feel like I've done very, very well at learning that, but I still can see my spine bend at times. I can still see my shoulders curl at times. I don't do well with conflict. I don't do well with aggressive personalities. It's just very consuming for me. And I have an instant nervous system reaction to very loud, aggressive behaviors, but I can't avoid that. Otherwise, I'm just going to avoid life. I'm going to avoid what's possible. So instead, it's like I learn how to be in that, how to navigate that, how to walk through that, not around it, through it. Because if we avoid so many beautiful pleasures in life. We avoid seeing like, wow, I'm proud of how I handled myself in that conversation. We avoid going, wow, I'm not so proud of how I handled myself in that situation. I'm going to do things differently this time. It's like, get in the deep end of life. That's where success lives. Because you're in the deep end, and more is more. You're going to have more challenge, but you're going to have more joy. You're going to have more kind of resistance, but you're going to have more abundance. Like it's the invitation for more, and not being afraid of it, but instead going like, I'm ready for it. Let me see what I'm capable of. And you will find and sort, almost like someone in a river with looking for gold, and you have to pull it up out of the water and you have to sift it, and the sand falls back into the river, the things that don't belong, but the nuggets of gold stay in. You can't avoid the sand to get to the nuggets. You got to dig it all and sift, 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 sift. So trust yourself in that. Sift through life. Learn what you like, learn what you don't like, learn how to lead difficult situations. And we're kind of going back to the beginning of the conversation. That's where your belief will grow. That's where that confidence will grow. That's where the fulfillment grows, because it's experience. And that's what we're here for.
And I can even tell by your facial expressions for people that are watching this, it's like you are in it, you are feeling it, all those motions. I can tell you've gone through it where you've had to sift through the sand. And thanks for that analogy, because I actually think that's it. Like, I talk to a lot of women, and you do too. And that fear of, well, what if I make all that money and then somebody says something? Or what if I have all this success? Will I be able to still be present with my kids? It's like sifting as you grow. I love how you say more is more, because don't be afraid of the more. You will be equipped, because you're actually becoming the version right now. Right? Thank you for your iconic, brand name. But this is powerful. This is powerful, because I think people are afraid of what's going to happen. So then they sabotage, and they unconsciously putting these blocks in to receiving more. I mean, receiving is a huge thing that I just did that program on receiving, right? The feminine. I really want to talk about this feminine, because you said something earlier, and you're like, if people could only see my day, look, it's even affecting my throat chakra, quote unquote, women would be so changed. And Jen, we share this. I want to change women around the world. And I know this episode is helping me right now, and it's helping the woman that's listening to this. Like, that's a strong statement. So tell me about your day. And I know it's not perfect, but you've said some things. It's like, what do you do in your day that women could hear, that they could be so changed?
Yeah. And I want women to hear this. It's not coming from there's not a sliver of ego in that. It's not like, if you could be me, it's not about being me. Okay. So I need that to be very crystal clear so they can receive this. But I do believe if a woman could come into my shoes, be in my body for a day, she would never be the same. Why? She would realize that beauty and abundance doesn't come with a price tag. You can light a candle and be making $10 this month. There's beauty. You can look outside at nature and its perfection and be reminded of abundance. That's completely free. You can make sure that your space is tidy and inviting and feels exciting to sit down at. That's just some time and consideration. So it was, for me, the invitation of those things. There's times in my life where I've not done these things. I do believe I'll never go back, because I treasure how I feel now so much that I don't feel like I would bend my boundaries or lower my standards to a place of where I was. But there was a time in my life where I was drinking most days, not excess, not drunk, but it was a part of my life. I earned it. I'm sitting having my glass of wine. I ate chips and dip like it was my job. I just wasn't caring for myself. And at that time, I didn't feel high energy. At that time, when somebody invited me to meet them in real life, I would find an excuse not to, because I didn't feel good in my skin. My clothes didn't fit me, so I wasn't really getting dressed very often and not putting on the things that I really loved in my closet because it didn't fit. I wasn't really doing my makeup, just a little bit. Everything started to come down a notch. Standards just were coming down, and it wasn't how I wanted to present. And I certainly saw the way it was affecting my relationships and my personal confidence, especially looking in the mirror. And again, I am someone that just holds myself to so much radical personal responsibility. And I'm like, okay, so we can either be in this scenario and what? continue justifying and blaming and being here, or we can make a change. And it's like, it's not going to happen unless you do it, Jen. And it's not about like burning things down or being radical in your behavior. It's these gentle invitations. So it started with like getting myself good skincare and spending time cleansing my face in the morning, just taking a minute, putting on music and like feeling and smelling. Like you should see me sniff my products in the morning. It's like I've never had it before, but I love the smell. And it's like, oh my gosh, it smells so good. And thank you. Like I'm literally praying. I'm like, thank you, God, that I could have this. Like, this is so beautiful. And I think of women. I'm going to kind of go on a sidetrack. I'm going to come back. There was a time in my life I had an opportunity to give pedicures to refugee women in a church. And I thought I was just going to be there, like kind of facilitating, but ended up being like, no, you're going to scrub their feet. And that's not necessarily comfortable for me. And I remember having this moment looking at them, and one of them said, I've never had a pedicure in my life before. And I remember thinking, my faith is with God, and I'm not trying to be too religious, but it's just the message that came from me is like, Jesus washed people's feet. You can sit here and humble yourself and wash these women's feet. And I did. And the way they if they could salivate out the side of the mouth, they would have. Like they melted before my spirit. I remember crying through most of it in a very beautiful way, just in the exchange and the moment. But I think what happened in that moment is it reminded me not everybody gets this, and you don't have to have expensive product, but it's the fact that you honor what you do have because someone else is praying for the very thing you don't have. And so it was like those invitations of like, this is so special. And like, everything being an experience. I love experiences. So getting dressed was an experience. How do I want to feel today? Putting on the good underwear. I have different scents and fragrances. Like everyone means something to me. It has a different essence. Who am I being today? And it's these invitations that I started to incorporate into my day, not perfectly, but it started to ripple and it started to ripple and it started to ripple. And suddenly, my closet mattered, and suddenly my drawers mattered, and suddenly my agenda mattered, and suddenly how I showed up for my clients mattered. And it was almost like, I don't know if I want to use this word, but I'm just going to trust everybody listening. Like it almost became an obsession, not an unhealthy obsession, but this desire to feel this way and embody this every day because it felt so sweet. And I started to change. My physical appearance changed. The way I showed up changed. My energy changed. My connection, my yeses to in life or real life experiences, like everything started to change. And it wasn't because of this drastic moment. It was just the practices and the invitations and what do I desire right now and what would feel good right now, and do I want to drink out of this chipped cup? No, I actually want to have a pretty cup because my water will taste better. And I just started to notice. And I wish more women noticed. I wish more women cared. I wish more women stopped fumbling through their days, chasing their days, and started leading their days. And the only way I know how to do that is to get up and decide that, to get up before it's time. Because if you get up and chase the alarm or the time, you're chasing for the rest of the day. I don't want that. Instead, it's like, I want to savor my coffee. I want to listen to some music. I want to think about Binu and how I want to show up for her today. And I'm telling you, your life would change if you took that kind of intentionality around the things that you did, starting from the moment you woke up.
Let this all land with everyone listening, because I think, the women listening to this may be what they needed to hear today. And this is why we're so aligned. It's like you say obsession, but then in the same sentence, you're saying quiet invitation. And there's too many people that I have heard from. I mean, whether it's our outside world, I blame everything on the fitness industry because I was in the fitness industry. It's like the all or nothing. And when you say the quiet invitation, this is the becoming, right? It's like, it's not about the all or nothing. We can do, and I've done that too, right? I've I always call it like I fell into the trap of the chips, the dip, the wine, and wow, everything's fine until it wasn't.
Right.
And suddenly I don't fit into my clothes and suddenly I have no energy to go to the gym. And it was that ripple. And it was when somebody said, like, who are you? For me, it was like, who is Binu with a successful business? That's been my journey. Who is she? What does her life look like? How does she behave? How does she show up? And I actually started thinking, she makes her damn bed. Like literally. Like I feel like I manifested you, Jen, into my life because I was starting to think about these things, but they were a little broken. It was like, well, she makes the bed, but does that really matter?
Yes.
Not today. Okay. She, takes time in the morning to blah, blah, blah. But then does that? No. And I would be so focused because the outside world was pulling me. And you've brought me back recently to these quiet invitations that you get to decide every morning. How do you start your day? And I know when I first heard you talk about your silk robe, we have to talk about the silk robe.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, that's cute. I did. I thought that's cute. And you were talking about like starting there where you feel like the best version of yourself is almost like a cliche, but you feel so good. And why don't we allow ourselves to feel so good? And it really made me look at what pajamas I was wearing. Like literally, I was like, I have chips on my cups. They were gone after I heard that podcast. And I was like, what have I been doing? Why? And so even that curiosity to me is such a spiritual thing. So I love that you talk about curiosity. I love that you talk about obsession. Because to me, you can be obsessed with love, with taking care of yourself. But where this leads me now is like inviting quiet invitations on how you want to feel all the time. And I hear a woman out there that's saying, well, that sounds nice, but I don't have time to get present in every moment. And Jen, I look at you and I know your schedule some days. So I would love for people to get a tap into how, answer her, please, because she's sitting there going, oh, this must be nice. I don't have time.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you some tough love because I too, I had that feeling in my heart center as well that someone's listening right now and excusing this for themselves immediately. They're not even spending a minute to savor it, to linger in it of what the possibility is. What is that message? What is her invitation? And so two things pop up for me. First of all, is stop chasing the dream and start being the dream. I think some people listening right now feel like they have no time because they're chasing. I got to get there. Like there's some stopwatch, accounting for how fast this has to happen. Instead, be the dream, like live it today, even if things feel uncertain. I was $100,000 in debt in 2019. $100,000. That's haunting. That takes over your mind. There's plenty of excuse wrapped up in that. But how is that working for me? And so I ask her, listening right now, oh, but I have no time, or that must be nice for you. I'm working 2 jobs and da, 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 da. How is that working for you? Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If you want something different, you've got to be someone different. You've got to raise your expectations and your standards. You've got to be the person that moves instead of sitting there like a victim of life. We all have reasons and excuses. I have plenty of reasons and excuses to not show up fully every single day. We all can find them, but it's like, who are you and how much do you want to soak in this lifetime? And what is it worth for you? Like, I think sometimes we're so comfortable in the narrative that we almost manifest it to stay the same because it's like, I know this suffering. I know how this feels and this challenge. Like I as much as I don't want it, I'm comfortable because I know it. I understand it in certain ways. I don't think fully, but I know it. Instead of being your best love story of your lifetime. Because if you said to yourself, I'm not going to look for my partner, maybe you don't even have one. I'm not going to look for a partner. I'm not going to look for my children. I'm not going to look for my clients. I'm not going to look for my bestie to give me love. Instead, I'm going to give everything I've desired to myself. Not in a way of like, I can buy myself flowers and like, I don't need you, but instead of this desire and invitation to say, what if I was my greatest love story? And if that were true, and if you flirted with that just a little bit, I am certain you wouldn't tolerate what you're saying to yourself right now. I'm certain you wouldn't let these things slide by that you're letting slide by right now. But instead of waiting for something, someone, some circumstance to change the trajectory of your life, what if instead you decided right now in this moment, I don't even believe this girl, Jen. I don't care. You don't have to believe me right now. But there's something she's saying that's activating me. I prefer activation over triggering because triggering has a negative connotation. I believe if something, what we normally call triggering is an activation. So if I'm stirring something in you and you're not even liking me right now, it's because you were meant to hear this. So ears up, eyes open, heart open to what you're listening to, because there's something in this for you, something that you're neglecting and denying yourself for what? For what happened yesterday, for that person that hurt you, for that client, for the dream that didn't work out. Like how are we going to have our greatest day if we decide before it even starts that it's just not going to work out?
Yeah. And I really believe it is in every little moment between the busy times and between the negative thoughts that if we just get still and pause for a minute here, a minute there, and go inward. Like, I know it sounds so simplified, but we start hearing our own truth. And I just love how you talk about love. Like, you are your greatest love story. Yes. Like, no one's taught us that. We were not taught to, your word, romanticize ourselves. And so I'm just so grateful because I do know that someone needs some tough love today, because I needed that tough love at some point in my life, in many points, right? And I'm sure you have too. And it's like this right now to me is like, I sometimes want to take these women in front of me, even like the friends and everything. I'm like, just like, look after yourself. You deserve time to sit and have a cup of tea. You deserve to say no. You deserve goodness. You deserve to feel good. Like, I want to normalize women getting to feel good, period. Like, worthy of, you fill out the blank, period.
Yeah, but we've been taught that's selfish. The guilt comes right in, right? If like I'm sitting and having a cup of tea and my husband's cleaning up the dishes, there's guilt. I should. Or if I go and like, I remember this is something I do and I get, like, every time I do it, the DMs, it's unbelievable. It makes my heart break. I take myself once a quarter to my favorite boutique hotel, 2 nights, not just one, because it takes me 1 night to unravel. Yes. 2 nights by myself. I order room service. I put on the robe. I love the smell of this place. I love the beds. I love the pillows. I love the person I am. There's an energy to me that happens when I'm there. And without fail, when I share that on my socials, women come in and go, oh my gosh, like, what does your husband say? Or I couldn't spend that kind of money on me. Or I don't know if I could do that with not having my family there. And this is the important part of the story, and kind of, again, putting an exclamation mark around what you just said. I still have those feelings. I think we're waiting for the self-doubt, the negative dialogue to go away to feel ready. I have it all the time. But what happens is you learn to work through it and expedite through it when you practice honoring yourself, speaking your truth, doing things that feel good. You realize, oh wait, guilt does not belong to me. Love is our truest essence. If it's not love, It is a human emotion. It's a part of our life, but it's not our truth. So I remember my breath coach teaching me this because I would feel guilty all the time. That was kind of like my emotion, my go-to emotion for most things, guilt, guilt, guilt. And she said to me, Jen, it's fear or it's love.
Yeah.
It's in one of those two buckets. Where is this guilt coming from? Is it love? And I said, well, yeah, I love my kids so much. I just want them with. She said, no, it's not, because you're a better mom. Like, where is it? And she helped me identify. And that changed my life radically, because I was able to, with these thoughts in my mind, put them in their places. Is this fear or is this love? This is not love. This is fear. Why am I fearing this? Where is this coming from? Where's the narrative? What have I been told? What doesn't belong to me? And I coach myself through these feelings.
Yes.
So those of you listening in, stop waiting for the negative self-talk to go away. It never does. Knock, knock, knock. Like, here we are being honest, but who you are through those moments starts to change. And you start bringing back your power, discernment, and realizing, oh my goodness, I'm just not in my natural state. What do I need to do? It's almost like you start giggling a little bit with yourself. It almost becomes a little humorous. It's fun. And you can course correct.
Yeah. And I love that you said self-coach, because, and I'm sitting here now, have done a lot of this work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you for just giving me that idea. Sometimes big magical ideas come through other people. And so I needed that idea today. I didn't even thought about taking myself to a hotel room just for no reason, no event, no dinner plan, just go. So thank you for that. But I really love all of this, Jen, around women giving themselves permission just to be in their natural state. Mm-hmm. And so to close this out, because look how much this time just flies.
It does.
What I love about what you're doing around your House of Her, and I'd love for you to tell people about that. It's what you said. It's like the woman behind the brand. Yeah. And I truly believe there's no woman that wants all this success, yet their family and their relationship and their body health to be terrible and their house a mess. I don't think so. They're going to get to all that money and then go, what the heck, right?
Yeah.
So tell us, let's finish off here. We're telling people more about where to find you, but what about this, the woman behind the brand, and how to get more of this from you?
Well, again, just piggyback, because you said that so beautifully, to expect abundance, success, income, beautiful things, travel, savoring beautiful meals, going to nice restaurants, and you're not the person who can invite that in. Like, if I opened the door to your home and you would be like embarrassed about what I would see, there's a conflict here. Mm. You are the bottleneck to the success that is rightfully yours. Abundance was your birthright. Mm. It's not earned in terms of you have to go through so many tests to get there. Most of the time, it's us getting out of our own way. Mm. And so the woman behind the brand, House of Her, I started it because of this very conversation being new. I was like, I've got, the Iconic podcast, which is very business focused, lots of leadership, lots of storytelling. It's so good. It's like, if I do say so myself, I've worked really
love
diligently.
It, by the way.
Thank you. I just think it has such a specific purpose for women when it comes to that leader of business and the leader of their lives. We talk about a lot of life stuff too, but I wanted this space where I could just be raw and be like, hey, I made this, like on Sunday, I made this delicious tuna recipe. And I was like, I just want to share it. My kids gobbled this up. It was so great. Try it. I want to show, hey, I went and did a spring capsule. Here's things I added to my wardrobe and all the ways you can mix this together, where people start to take away the complicated thoughts that everything has to be such a big deal and realize this simplicity. And simplicity is luxury. And so I wanted this home. So House of Her was born. It's a membership where I pour myself in. It has a private podcast. I just want to be me. I don't want to get, into a studio to record a podcast. I want to be on my phone in the car. I have something to say. I want to share it with you. And so it was that freedom piece for me where I just could pour in this component of who I am so that those watching realized I'm not different when the phone's put away and the screens are closed down. I am exactly the same person as I am when the lights and cameras are taking action. And I really, my hope is that it inspires women. It reminds women, like that comes up for me. I want to remind her she knows all of this.
Yes.
This actually is her natural state. But somewhere along the journey, for me, it was kids, we thought it became less about ourselves and more about everything else outside of ourselves. And I want to remind her that she is the matriarch to everything, her home, her relationship, her children, her business, the community she's building. And so if she doesn't prioritize herself and she doesn't pay attention to the way she is caring for herself, I wonder, like, can the business outgrow us? I don't think so. So I want to bring women into that pursuit of self, that prayer that I've had, by showing them behind the curtains.
I love that. It's all one energy, which I really only tapped into, I think, a year ago. So it's necessary. So thank you, Jen. You've left me with just this deeper feeling of presence that I want to have in my own life. So thank you. And so just let everybody know where to find you. Yeah, so that's on Substack, House of Her.
Yeah. House of
And
Her
your
is
Instagram.
It's on my Instagram. Yeah. So if you go to Becoming Iconic or Iconic Magazine _, everything's linked there. So the membership is there and you get a subscription to the magazine and the membership too. It's just like, just join it. You're going to be glad you did. But then there's other things too, like the digital copy of the magazine's complimentary. Iconic podcast is there, like everything just to take this conversation. And if you desire to go deeper and if you maybe are activated and irritated with me, come and like lean into that a little bit. Just get to know me. And I feel like that's going to be the bridge for you. Not that I have all the answers, not that I'm this perfect example, but I do feel a huge level of responsibility to exemplify what is possible. And my hope is that I do that every single day on the internet through those platforms and offerings.
Well, thank you. You inspire me daily, and I've made huge changes just being in your energy. So thank you for leading the way, going first, whatever you call it. And this is how to live an extraordinary life. This is what I love ending my podcast with. Follow Jen along. Listen to this a couple more times because I think there was so many mic drop moments that I missed that I'm going to go back and listen to. Jen, thank you so much. What a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you listening. If this episode resonated with you and you wish to speed up your growth, feel free to check out my programs and services. Just go to my website, benu.ca. And if you know someone else who is seeking more meaning in life and could use some inspiration and high vibes along the way, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world. And it goes a long way if you take a few seconds right now and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful.